Yo.
Oh, it's go time.
What's the deal? We are live, man. Let me send it back. Call out. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
Yeah, this is live. Chat.
Chat, talk to me.
It's a lot going on.
It's a lot going on right now. Baby.
Going on in the world right now. Well, first and foremost, man, how you doing, brother? How's everything?
I'm great. How you feeling?
I'm good, man. I can't complain.
Yeah.
Your life is moving and grooving. I will say this. Do remember, tomorrow we got a dope episode of Earn Your Leisure with Lex and Dre from Poor Minds.
Shout out to the fam.
Yeah. We had a dope conversation about travel, especially like Black women traveling. That's a big industry. So we spoke about that. They got a travel show at BET, but we also spoke about content, all types of stuff. So shout out to them. That's the homies.
Yeah. And they're just good people too. Like amazing content creators, but good people, fun to be around.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's most important. And InvestFest. Get your tickets. We will be announcing the lineup soon. You know, we doing our last minute politician game. You know, it's man, people. One day we're gonna fully talk about how stressful this whole thing is and actually putting together. It's like the NFL draft. Like, you know, they got the draft board and they're like going through different shit, making last minute
scenarios,
cash considerations, offering third round draft picks. Like, people see the final product, but they don't see what goes into making this happen every year. And it's not by luck. Like, you don't have that level of consistency by luck. There is a set formula that goes into it. But get your tickets to InvestFest, investfest.com. Get your vendor booths. Year 5, man. Time flies.
Most important one.
That's
tricky time in the economy. AI is taking over more than ever. And if you had a glance at what was going on in Saudi Arabia, there's a lot to talk about when I get on the stage. Red Panda, you have your code and Telegram. But I would definitely see you guys there in August.
That's a fact. Any announcements, Ian?
Yeah, if you want to get rich from the market, go to ianinvest.com. We got an amazing stock club call today. Our prices are in Kajabi now. So if you want to know where to get in, where to get out, over 120 prices of where to invest. If I made you money, can I get a yes in chat, please? Yeah, that's it. That's it for now. I'm gonna talk about some of you suckers later, but for now, we're gonna keep the peace.
Please.
Yeah.
Man, there's a lot to talk about. We're gonna talk about Donald Trump.
Yep.
$1 trillion Middle East situation that he's willing and dealing. We're gonna talk about white South African refugees. Interesting. We're going to talk about
cousins.
We are going to talk about Diddy Trial. We're going to talk about the Diddy Trial. And we're going to talk about Tory Lanez.
Shout out to my bro. Hold your head.
Tough week for him.
For sure.
But let's warm it up first. And we're going to be reading Leather Jacket Vibes. This is live, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. So if one of y'all say something stupid, I'm act stupid with you.
So we got a lot to talk about, but let's warm it up first. Let's let the beat build. So first, you know, art is an interesting thing, and it's subjective. So some controversial art was displayed on Times Square last week, where it was I think 10-foot statue of a Black woman, and it's causing some level of controversy. So can we bring the statue up, Troy? Okay. So this is a statue of a Black woman in Times Square, done by a Black artist. And some people are not happy about this.
What was the comments online?
Well, there's two sides of it. Some people are saying that this is wonderful because it shows the realistic depiction of a woman, specifically a Black woman. The average Black woman, when you think about your aunt, when you think about your mom, when you think about your school teacher, 9 times out of 10, this looks familiar to you. Her body type, her stance, her hair. This is something that we all are familiar with, right? So a lot of people are championing it, like this is dope that we have real representation.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another segment of the population, of the Black population, that's saying that this plays into stereotypes, that this is embarrassing, that we shouldn't be highlighting someone who can be considered unhealthy in their physique. Statues are supposed to be inspirational, aspirational, like you're supposed to have, like, even if it's not realistic, it's supposed to be something that you can like aspire to, like Olympian or like the Zeus or something like that. So they're like, well, why when we get a statue, it has to be minimized to average person. Interesting perspective.
That's interesting.
Interesting perspective. I think we can take it down now. Okay. So I'm interested to see what the chat thinks about this.
For sure.
Let us know. But Ian, what do you think about that?
What, they want a statue of a BBL?
The BBL statue is
that's fucking crazy, yo. Like, if we don't have something, it's complaint. If we do get something, it's not regal enough. I think there's just a subsection of online that is unhappy no matter what you do. So the statue isn't there anymore, I'm assuming, right? That it would be a complaint about that.
No, it's still there.
It's still there? Okay.
I think so. I think it's still there.
Okay. But next time I'm in New York, I'm gonna go take a picture by it. The boots was crazy. The Skechers boots, they could have. I know they said it was a Black designer, but the Skechers boots play crazy. So,
to be completely honest with you, and this is one of the few times in life I can honestly see both sides of the argument.
Yeah,
I can honestly see both, because I can see the argument of that. To me, looks like 80-90% of the women that I know, as far as like, she looks like somebody that I went to high school with.
Yeah.
Now, like if you look now, they would look like her, right?
Yeah.
So to me, that's empowering, because that's giving a lot of women confidence that might not necessarily see themselves usually, right? And it's like, that's something that's dope. The other side of me can understand that maybe we don't have a lot of representation when it comes to art and things of that nature. So sometimes you have to overemphasize. That's what Europeans did, right? Europeans overemphasized excellence to make the world think a certain thing about themselves, right? Everything you see, even though the Mona Lisa is a pretty average looking woman, some say she's a man. Who knows? But other than that, they overemphasized abs and done all types of stuff. Even if you look at the painting of Jesus, right? Like, these are things that stay in a person's mind and have long lasting effects. Like, we had an interesting conversation today with David Banner, and we said something that was interesting. If you read the Bible, and I hate to go into the religious thing, but it's interesting because in the Bible, obviously everybody knows it talks about Jesus having bronze hair and wool hair and bronze skin.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure you heard the story, but the depictions of him don't look like that, right? So what that means to me is that art is more powerful than education, because even though the words say something, the visual representation overpowers the words. So the art is more powerful than the written word. Art is very powerful.
For sure.
Art's extremely powerful. So it's like, damn, when we get art, why do we have to have it as average person? Why can't we have a superhero? Why can't we have Black Panther, Wakanda forever? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you go to Senegal, they got this huge statue of like a Black man with a woman holding a child. It's just like a superhero. Why can't we have Black superheroes? Why do we have to be minimized to the everyday working person? So I can understand.
I can understand both sides, but don't you think having too much of perfection in our culture has caused delusion, desire for scamming, and mental unrest at scale? I've never seen a generation compare themselves to people so frequently. And going back to the designer clothes conversation from last week and the luxury buying, that comes from the competition anxiety thing that's presented on index on Instagram. Like we're over indexing in every category, trying to keep up with whatever rapper or celebrity that we see.
True. But do you it is also important to have high aspirations. Like that's why that movie Black Panther was powerful,
For
I
sure.
think, because we've seen the opposite of that a lot of times.
For sure.
We've seen the opposite of that a lot of times. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we haven't really seen the Mansa Musa movie.
Which is needed.
We haven't seen we haven't seen that just highest level possible luxury fly shit. That's important.
Who would have been a better statue? Because I felt like how you feel about the Harry Tubman being on the 20. I'm like, there's a lot of other people we could have picked to be there. But if you could design a statue and put it in New York, who would you have on it?
First of all, I salute to that brother, and I appreciate his statue. I'm not anti the statue. I appreciate it. But I thought we said it's the return of the Black Kings. Like that's what I hear in my mind. Like if it's me, I'm gonna have the dude with the robe on down, the mink down to the floor. Like, you know, hey, I'm gonna have a 10-foot dude with the mink down to the floor.
We're gonna have Frank Lucas in the statue. Come on, man.
I'm gonna have the mink down to the floor, man, with the 3-piece suit on. Like, yo,
not Dr. Cornel West, Frank Lucas, right?
You said it's the return of the Black Kings. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to have the flowers at the feet, the rose petals. That's why Coming to America was powerful. That's why Coming to America was powerful, because
for sure,
that
the first one
image, yeah,
the first one
that gave an image of Africa that nobody was thinking about. Everybody at that time, everybody was thinking about Africa as poverty and kids that was starving and civil war. But you seeing, and like I said, is it realistic? No, but part of art is to paint unrealistic expectations so you can get to that point.
So it becomes the bar. Yep.
So it becomes the norm.
Yep.
That's part of art. All of these movies like 300 and Achilles and all of these movies, right? These aren't realistic movies. These aren't even true movies. These are fictional tales, but they're showing white Europeans in such level of greatness and bravery that you have to aspire to be that.
Okay, I'm with you 1,000%. I'm with you. And as a marketer, yeah, you do have to set the image so that becomes the bar for the society to expect to live up to later. But what do you guys think in the comments? Do you love the statue or hate it? I hated the Harriet Tubman $20 bill idea.
Why'd you hate that?
Because of the symbolism. Because I think there was enough powerful figures that we could have put on our currency, like Mansa Musa, richest man on earth ever, to symbolize our power. I think even though Harriet played a pivotal role, I think they were picking a character that was, or a person that fits a certain stereotype, like you said. So how you feel about the statue? And some people, I felt the same way about the $20 bill.
And you know what's also interesting, because, you know, I'm into art. So when I went to the Louvre for the first time, I noticed something, because I went to the ancient Egypt section, because of course they got a bunch of stolen art from Egypt. And then the rest of the sections, which was like Greece and Italian and French. And I noticed something in the ancient Egypt section. There's a common theme. Well, first, they have clothes on. They're not naked. The second thing is that it's always a man and a woman next to each other.
Yep.
The duality of feminine and masculine energy is right next to each other. That's very common. If you look at a lot of those statues, they had the pharaoh, but they had the queen right next. They had a man and a woman next to each other.
Yeah.
The Europeans didn't have that. The Europeans first, they was naked, most of them. And they usually was by themselves. They was just a man, or it was a woman, or it was like a man with boys at his feet. That's a different conversation for a different day.
For a different day. We want to do this a lot.
So it's interesting how things change, right? Because the family dynamic, when you think of Black family, you think about how broken it is. But when you look at the ancient artifacts, that was normalized.
And it wasn't until what, the 1940s or 50s that the black family got destroyed through strategic planning by higher powers.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Or it should be a black family in statue. I think that'd be dope. Yeah. I think that'd be dope.
Okay. Troy pinned a comment.
The artist accomplished everyone talking about it, just like Kendrick got everyone to talk about the meaning of a Super Bowl performance. That they got Kendrick's Super Bowl performance to be paid for. Shout to Interscope Universal. Who's gonna stop all the organic marketing bullshit? Come on. The think pieces that come out on social, they tell them what to think in the think pieces. It's part of the rollout. It's like the Rolls Royce. I never see Rolls Royce advertised. They do at scale. They're told what to say across all mediums. So, but shout out to Kendrick. Amazing concert from what I heard.
Shout out to Kendrick Lamar. A shout out to that.
Very few things in society do we think on our own. Every designer, house, car, color, someone owns that shit. And then they go out into the PR world and advertising world and make people think that they found that on their own. For the record. So, shout out to all the ad agencies, BBDO and Ogilvy.
Before we get into the spice, hit the like button and share. Hit the like button and share. We are live. We talked about this on Market Mondays a little bit, but let's get into it. 75% of there's a study done that says 75% of luxury items, fashion items, are. I want to make sure I have this correct.
You do.
75% of luxury spending comes from middle and lower class.
Look, it's very interesting. Even in like you said, in Market Mondays, the CEO of LVMH, shout out to him. Amazing conversation you guys had with him. He's happy that the quiet luxury movement is over, but I think it goes to show our spending power. And if you have belief in yourself, you don't need all the designer shit to get the look that you need off. Like, I commend the people who don't put on designer, who just dress and have a curated look for them. It goes to tell you a lot. The quiet luxury movement was moving very quickly, and they found a way to thwart that. So, but let's be real. Our community is never going to stop spending on luxury.
Well, the thing about it is, this is interesting from a psychological standpoint. 75% of luxury spending,
because you want to look rich. And that's when we say, Rashad just said, hey, don't buy designer. I'll tell you, don't buy designer, don't buy all this other shit that we could afford easily. It means nothing. The people who are really rich, I never cared what Paul Tudor Jones said on because he had on Louis Vuitton or not, or name any brand. It does not matter. Most of the people who are very rich or wealthy, they're wearing brands that you don't know what they are anyway. And those t-shirts cost $1,700 per pop. Trousers are $6,000 per pair. Like, no. You got to stop spending money to look rich and actually get rich. And I get it. I was there too. I get it at one point in time, but it means nothing. And a lot of y'all fellas be putting on all that designer and be going home with the worst of the harlots. There's other stuff to work on, my boy. Rashad, what are your thoughts?
It's it's one of these things that it's multi-layered.
For sure.
Multi-layered. Because I feel like part of me wants to say that this is done intentionally by the brands.
For sure.
Then the other part of me wants to say this is a psychological
operation,
coping mechanism to have some level of enjoyment people that have been systematically
Marginalized.
suppressed for a long periods of time. So, or it might be a combination of both.
Yeah,
Might be a
I agree.
combination of both.
I agree.
But it's definitely interesting when you look at people who probably can't afford luxury are the main consumers of it. That's kind of a oxymoron in a sense.
By design. Like, okay, when you talk to Robert Smith, is the fifth thing that comes up, hey, after this, we need to go to Louis. We need to go get the monogram Murakami. It doesn't matter in the grand. The people I hear talk about the bags and stuff, like, they are in a certain bracket. I'll say that and be kind about it. Because it really doesn't mean anything. Like, I've never been to a funeral and been like, yo, the Valentino that he got on in the second row killed it at the funeral.
Valentino in the second row.
It's like, this shit don't matter. Then you'll get it. And to be very honest, because I thought once I got here in my 20s, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be the most ostentatious. And you realize it doesn't mean anything. No, people don't necessarily treat you better. Because if you don't also put it together correctly, and if you just monogram head to toe, you look tacky.
Facts.
You got monogram hat, monogram jacket, monogram t-shirt, belt. You look like a 2K player. Def Jam, Fight for Vengeance, Part 2. That shit look crazy, man. But
how do we teach etiquette to the culture?
You don't. That's my new shit I'm on. I even saw the comments. People don't know what to do with their money. We have done 72,000 shows on what to do with your money. The truth is, people don't want to.
Well, let me ask. All right, let's play a game. Let's ask the audience a question. If you're going to a wedding,
yeah,
what is the appropriate spend for a wedding gift? How do you know how much money you should spend for a wedding gift?
Yeah,
let's see.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Because people don't know.
True.
Somebody said 300.
How close are you to this person? Because that matters to me.
$50 is crazy work.
$50 is crazy, and you'll never go.
Give what you can.
Cap. Shout out Tiffany, but Cap. No. These numbers low.
$25. $25. Wow. Well, it's all right. So this is interesting because once again, I had to be educated on this.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't always know this. Common etiquette is to cover your plate. Somebody put that in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
It's not whatever you can give. It's not $50. How I look at it is that if I'm not in a financial position to cover my plate, I won't go. Because I understand that a wedding is a financial hardship.
Yep.
That you're starting life out, right? So it's a certain level of consideration that you have to have for a young family that's just getting on their feet. The rule of thumb is that you're supposed to at the very least cover your plate.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know how much the plate costs, you can call the venue and you can kind of get a gauge of how much plate costs. But after you go to enough weddings, you'll kind of see.
You'll see.
So what you really should do is come with a check. And depending on if they got an open bar, they'll say, okay, I know how much this costs. And then you can write the check. And then, because cash is always the best gift. Don't buy a toaster. But,
mm-hmm.
and it's per person.
Yes. So if you bring a date,
you cover the cost of your plate and you cover the cost of your date's plate. That's proper etiquette. But people don't know that. So it's one of these things that you have to educate people because you can't expect people to just know things on the fly. But it is of poor taste if you're bringing 5 people to a wedding and you're giving them $75 for your whole entire family.
Yeah, that's crazy. Let's play. Okay, I want to play game 2. How much do y'all spend when y'all going to Louis Vuitton or Gucci on average? Because it's not 50 or 75. And these are to sending that money off to families that are never reinvest into you again. So I'm with the etiquette part, but it's like, how can you spend more with strangers than you do with people that you know and love? It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, we do need etiquette lessons in the culture for sure.
We need etiquette. We need like a school of etiquette. Like you tip you tip the guys that are sanitation guys. If you live in a house and the guys come and pick up your trash when it's Christmas time, you tip. These are things that
For sure.
These are things that white people know. You gotta tip service workers. You gotta tip the sanitation guys.
Yeah.
Like handsomely.
For sure. Security in your building. Tip handsomely.
Valet parkers.
Yes.
You live in an apartment building. So and you got a valet parking service. You gotta tip these people.
Yeah.
That's proper etiquette.
For sure.
There's a variety of different things that I don't think we fully understand yet.
Is it that we don't understand them or that we don't go look? Because people know everything about the Tory and Diddy case. I had people messaging me like, I was like, damn, you are the second coming of Cochran and Cochran. But you don't know what to tip. Like, so.
Okay. All right. Speaking of the Diddy case, we're going to talk about the Diddy case. But let's just do one more thing before we get into what everybody came here for. Divorce. Let's show this divorce clip. Shall we?
And probably hundreds, if not thousands, of prenups over 25 years. I think there may be 5 people that I did their divorce after they had a prenup.
Really?
Yeah.
I think people need to hear that again.
I think that, yeah. So I've done hundreds, if not at least 1,000 prenups in 25 years. I probably do 2 or 3 prenups a week. So I do a lot of prenups. Most of my colleagues do a lot of prenups. And I've never asked my colleagues this, but usually when you do a prenup, you have a good relationship with the person by the time it's finished. It's a transaction people feel good about. It's a divorce. Sometimes you finish a divorce and the person's like, oh my God, I never want to see you again because you remind me of this really dark chapter. But prenups, it's usually a very friendly transaction. It's positive.
This is surprising to me. So people who prenup tend not to break up. Yes, that rhymes.
Yes.
Yes. I think many people will be very surprised to hear that.
I think it's self-selecting. I think the kind of people who can have a conversation that you need to have in order to discuss and negotiate. And again, there's another term. I don't think it's the right term, negotiate a prenup. Negotiate gives the impression it's like you're buying a car, like the kind of people who can have the conversations you need to have in order to have a prenuptial agreement, I think are the kind of people that are going to be successfully married, period.
That's interesting. The guy said he's done thousands of prenups and only had 5 divorces from the prenups. Because psychologically, if you're the type of person that's a rational thinking person and can go into something before it and can iron out worst case scenarios, you'll probably be a rational type of person that can iron out agreements.
Yep, and work through things.
You'll probably be a rational type of person that can actually have conversations, tough conversations and things of that nature, right? I've been a fan of prenups, but I never thought about it from that standpoint. But to hear a divorce lawyer actually say that, I'm like, damn, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Which we need him on the show. Kudos to James. Yeah. But you're right. I think if you can't iron out some of these tough conversations and come to an agreement, and this applies to women as well who are doing well, and I've told a lot of you this privately, 1 or 2 of you who've told me, hey, he won't sign a prenuptial agreement. I'm like, he doesn't love you. Point blank. Because it's not just one-sided. Because I know people think, well, you just want to hoard or hide all your assets. But you can structure in there, well, post-divorce, you would get XYZ, you would be taken care of. It doesn't have to be one-sided. But there's a lot of stories of people who will not sign them. And it's like a one way for you to know if they're in it for the right reason or not.
And y'all stop with that. Because there's a narrative. Oh, well, no, that's you taking the love out of this, and a marriage is between God and the union. And if you're saying
that's until the state gets involved.
First of all, second of all, any religious text that you read, there's still laws that govern a marriage. It's Facts. Not. Look, there's no religious text that just said, hey, get married and do what you want to do. There's set guidelines. There's laws. There's ways to dissolve the marriage. There's every religious text that you read about marriage, there's set detailed guidelines about how to go into a marriage, how to exit a marriage. So that it's never just been about, oh, I'm just madly in love with this person. Fuck it.
And that kind of romanticism in love is a newer thing in especially our community. And maybe, just maybe, humbly, because I've never been married, People who say that, you don't have the things to lose that some people may have to lose in these conversations. People, well, if you're not a real hustler, if you can't get it back, that's great advice for someone who's dumb. The rule is to not lose it the first time. It's tough to get. I've been investing since 2009. God forbid if I had to give half of my shares away because of relation, I can't get that time back. No, take all risk off the table. So, and if a person won't sign it, they don't care about you. Shout out to Jessica. Yes, safety is foundational.
Safety is foundational. I like that.
Protect yourself at all times.
Hit the like button and share. Okay, let's get into this.
And ladies, especially for those of you that are making 200K, 300K investing, got a business, and you decide to clean up a little bum off the street, make him sign that little NDA and prenup right away. There's a lot of women who get hunted who are lit, doing incredibly well. They're watching you on the blogs. They watching you come on EYL. Oh, she cute. And then you go see what she makes, and they start to plan their attack. That's not talked about enough. Not talked about enough. I know Lex and Drea just had this conversation too. The hunting that happens to women, you have to be very careful. Very careful.
And the thing about it is, once again, going back to the you taking the love out of this. What does love have to do with going in front of a court and actually filling out paperwork and giving your license? So you can't pick and choose where you want it. But if that's the case, then we can just go and we can just say I'm married. We have a witness, because that's what they did before. We were in the United States of America. You have a witness, you have your family, and you say, okay, I'm married. Okay, we're married. Now we're married. And we're married in front of God's eyes. If you're gonna participate in this system, you can't halfway participate. You can't say, okay, well, I don't. That's going to take the love out of it. That's going to take the God out of it, and then go down to the courtroom and then actually give somebody your license and then sign a bunch of documents and then have to pay taxes as a married couple. Like, you're in a system already. That has nothing to do with love. That has nothing to do with love. That's for the country. That's for the United States of America.
Yeah. That's no love involved. And you can argue doing things the Western way has caused more divorce and more breakups than most other countries. Toxic media is toxic, food toxic, how to keep or create a relationship is toxic. They only care that the entitlement does not fall on the states or the country itself.
And marriage was always a business. Back in ancient times, they used to have, well, they still do, some cultures still do have arranged marriages. And if you were powerful, sometimes a king would marry his daughter or his son to maintain peace within lands. This is not something new. Marriage has always been a business arrangement contract. That's always been at least part of it. That's always been at the very least part of it. So I just think you got to be intelligent. And especially if you got something to lose, just think about it. For sure. Just think about it. And like you said, if somebody doesn't want to sign a prenup, they don't love you.
At all.
Because that's
standing that firmly.
What are you here for then?
If you won't sign that, it tells me that you're here for the finesse. And I'm not going to get made off. Imagine me being the greatest investor of this generation and I get made off the post-nuptial. Fuck out of it. No. Nope.
Okay.
Sorry.
Let's get into this. What were you talking about first? Trump or Diddy?
Trump.
Or Tory Lanez? Trump?
Trump.
Okay.
Yeah.
Multi-level conversation when it comes to Trump. So we got a few things to talk about. The first is that, Trump is an American first. That's his thing. American first. Make America great again. And part of that was this very strong anti-immigration stance. Shut the borders down, pretty much. Essentially, border crossings have gone to like damn near none. You get people self-deporting at this point, right? Like all immigrants that was coming from Central South America, that stopped. African immigrants and everything stopped. And one of the things that he stopped also was the refugee program. America had established a refugee program probably 20, 30 years ago. And it can take up to like 200,000 refugees a year, right? And a refugee is somebody that's actually fleeing the country that they're in for religious or other persecution as far as their race, sexual violence, people that are actually being persecuted.
Yeah.
Right. But he stopped that. He stopped that and he said, we don't have room for anybody being persecuted. But there's always a but. There's always a but. He signed an executive order to make a pathway for Afrikaners. If you don't know what Afrikaners, those are white South Africans, to come to America. I think up to 6,000. I think so far it's like 58 have come, but I think it's up to 6,000 that could potentially come. For grounds of racial persecution. And he said, quote, this is what he said. He said that there's a genocide going on in South Africa against white people and nobody's talking about it.
What was his level of outcry when apartheid was happening? He had a voice. He was taking out ads in the New York Times.
So let's talk about this, because this is it's pretty disturbing on a few different things, a few different levels. First of all, it's important to know the history of South Africa, right? South Africa is a very complicated history, but let's just give you the 5th grade education, speed up. There's a group of Dutch settlers that come to South Africa around the 1800s, 1700s, and settle in South Africa. And then probably 100, 150 years later, there's a group of Britons from Great Britain that come, conquer, settle. And then there's a mix of German and a few other countries in Europe, but there's white people that come from Europe that settle in South Africa 300 years ago. And the word settle is kind of a friendly word, but they colonized the place pretty much, right? Killed native people, kicked them off their land, stole their land, and established their system. And they have a language, they have a culture, and they have the whole thing. And then around 50 years ago, they established a system called apartheid, which is one of the most racially regressive, aggressive regimes in modern history to oppress Black people.
Yep.
The minority, which is the white South Africans, had a persecution against the majority of Black Africans. And this went from everything of like, straight out of America's playbook. They actually copied it from Jim Crow. So as far as, you couldn't vote, you couldn't read, schools, you had to have racial cards. They devised different racial systems between. So if we were in South Africa, we're not Black in South Africa. We're colored.
Yep. So
they have colored, which caused racial division between light-skinned people, mixed race people, and dark-skinned Black people. The American Jim Crow. Just think about American
all over again
in South Africa. They think they even had KKK out there, killing Black people, hanging Black people. Nelson Mandela, you guys might have heard of him, served 26 years in prison because he was trying to fight for Black people's rights. South Africa is a very racially divided country. Even to this day, the white minority, which is 10% of the country, owns 90% of the wealth right now. In 2025, white people in South Africa own 90% of the wealth and land in South Africa right now.
Yep.
In 2024, because he said that there's white farmers that's getting killed at alarming levels. There was 12 attacks on farms reported in South Africa in 2024. And this is Black and white farms. And the number can't really be verified, but they said six people got killed. 6. To put this in perspective, the Congo has more people killed in the last 20 years than World War II.
Yep.
2 million people, over 20 million people displaced in the Congo. That's a real genocide that's currently happening right now. Sudan.
Yes.
24,000 people killed last year, 2 million people displaced. That's a real genocide that's happening right now on the continent of Africa. It's beyond disrespectful to say 6 people getting killed is a genocide and then make safe passageways for white people who are colonizers who actually took the land and still maintain control over the diamonds, over the resources, over the land.
Cobalt.
To this day, they still maintain control. There's never been there's no place in the world where black people are colonized white people on their own land. Every part of the world, white people have colonized native people.
Yep.
There's no, let me say this again. There's no part of the world where black people colonize white people. There's every part of the world where white people have colonized native people. The audacity of that shows psychologically how a lot of people think.
But are we surprised? I wasn't the least bit surprised. Is it heartbreaking? Yes. But to see and this is the issue that I have with those of you who may be in the comments tonight who say you guys are hard on Trump. It's like, no, we're calling a spade a spade. I also said Biden wasn't a great president. But when you have instances like this where the discrimination is very clear, how do you avoid it? Especially being a black man in this country who did not sell out to get wealthy. It's tough. It's tough.
How do you champion that type shit as a black person?
And a lot of y'all be championing some of that delusion that they talk about, and you didn't even get rich off of it. Even when we talked about the Project 2025 thing, y'all got sold a bill of goods by the Democrats. I'm like, you're not even rich enough to talk that shit that they be talking. Who do y'all be talking to? For the record, like, what are we talking about? Because you want to be Black MAGA for a day? The people I know in Black MAGA not getting nothing done. They got sold a bill of goods. I know 4. Shout out to y'all, love y'all, but it didn't work out how y'all thought. It is what it is. So I think a lot of people just be talking, but the racism and discrimination is higher than I've ever seen, especially for public office, for sure.
Yeah.
And then he got the plane.
Well, okay, that's the next conversation. All right, so the South African thing is pretty much, I don't even know what to say about that.
There's nothing to say. It's unfair at best and unjust.
It says a lot about the times that we're in. But like I said, it also, a colonizer is always going to look at himself as a victim. No matter what.
Especially if the system is set up for him to look that way and it benefits him to do so.
A colonizer always looks at himself as a victim. You steal something from somebody and then you get mad when they ask for it back.
Yeah.
These are the same people that don't even want immigrants to come into their country based off of colonization that you caused. That's the irony of it. You take a continent like Europe, you carve up the whole continent of Africa. You force these people to learn your language and to learn your customs. You collapse their economy. They don't have nowhere to go. Where are they gonna go? They're gonna go to a place that's familiar. So if you live in a French-speaking country, you're going to go to France. And they didn't just pick up French out of nowhere.
Yep.
You forced them to learn French. If you live in an English-speaking country, you're gonna go to Great Britain. They didn't pick up English out of nowhere. You went out of your way to travel 4,000 miles to force these people to learn, to force these people to wear wigs in court, to force these people into your culture, and then you get mad when they have nowhere to go and they're gonna go to your home.
Yeah. Yep. And without that colonization, some of those countries would collapse. That's why Ibrahim Toure is so important.
Ibrahim Toure, man, the people's champ.
Yep. I know he's 37. I'm like, damn.
Love that guy, man.
Yeah, icon
Living. That's a fact. We need him at InvestFest.
For sure.
For
sure.
That'd be legendary. Okay. We had enough of this South African conversation. Now let's talk about this Middle East play. Trump takes the Middle East. Man, he's doing it in fashion. I'll tell you one thing about Trump. He knows how to do things at a very mega level.
Yeah, he's gonna put on a spectacle.
Put on a spectacle at all times. That I do respect.
For sure. Call a spade a spade. He is a great showman.
Very great showman.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this is multi-level conversation. The first thing we got to talk about is he goes to Saudi Arabia and he meets MBS. We could do a whole story about MBS. If you don't know his story, look it up. And Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. And he brings the dream team of American CEOs with him. Sam Altman,
for sure.
Elon Musk, Larry Fink,
Jensen. Lisa was there from AMD. Yep.
AMD, Citi. There's a lot of lessons in this. What'd you get from that?
Stay close to the source of power. I kept telling everyone a couple years ago, BRICS, the S stands for Saudi Arabia. They are the power players. But in that room, you got to see, when we talked about this on Stock Club call tonight, they're telling you who's going to win over the next 5 years. Who wasn't there was very telling, for sure. Because they're
Facebook, Zuckerberg.
Interesting.
Apple.
Interesting that they were not there at this important meeting. For those you don't know, Saudi Arabia's investment into, which you need to go look at Saudi Aramco, will put them in a power position for next decade. So if they're cutting a check, so you don't think that they can eventually take the world market cap leadership position away if they wanted to? It's very interesting that everyone traveled there to kiss the ring. But it was very clear who wasn't there and who's going to win and who's going to be the biggest beneficiaries over the next 5 or 6 years from being there at that meeting.
That was an index fund of companies.
Of the world. Yes.
To buy. That was the index fund of companies to buy.
Normally they come to the president or Larry at BlackRock. Shout out to BlackRock. But they went there. It also shows you how fragile the American economy is if I have to fly to Saudi Arabia to secure the bag. I know it's the team up, everybody in group text. We're going to be on our best behavior. We all going to get this money. We're going to break it down this way. It was a great mastermind move, but it does show you the fragility of our market and better to make peace with them while we're potentially at war with China.
Alex Karp, Palantir.
Yes.
He was there.
Yep.
You know,
Michael Saylor was not.
Michael Saylor was not.
Interesting.
You know what? It's one of these things, man. I spoke to BD the other day, and he was just like, yo.
Shout out to my guy.
Okay, let me talk to black people for a minute. If you don't understand that if you don't realize you got to get together now.
If not, it's going to be over.
Bro, they don't care. They don't care. Look, powerful CEOs, right?
Yes.
They don't care about their religion. They don't care about your political preference. They don't care. They don't care if you're gay. You gotta remember,
money's a religion.
Sam Altman's gay. He's in Saudi Arabia, bro. None of that matters. All of that stuff is made for the public to buy into, to fight over religion and sexual orientation and political. None of that's important.
It doesn't matter.
At the highest level possible, none of that is important.
Money's a religion.
Money matters, right? Mm-hmm. You ain't see one black person there.
No.
Not one.
No. It wasn't that much hue, that much color there at all. Outside of the Saudis.
Facts. I mean, few of Asian descent. You had Jensen, his cousin from AMD. But what I'm saying is this. They're willing to put differences aside for the greater good of the bag.
And the country, and then the bag for it to secure for themselves. Yep.
We can't even put our differences aside because somebody didn't like your picture on Instagram. Facts.
Or you just be hating.
Yeah. Ego. Think about the ego and pride that we have a lot of times over things that's not important at all.
Yep. A lot of y'all be like, yo, why can't y'all we get together and do the y'all know why? It be too much hate.
Somebody said Alex Karp is black. I mean, technically,
yes.
Technically, the Pope is black also.
For corporate, he's black.
I've never heard Alex Karp champion any black thing ever. I never heard it. There's a difference between
black people are not a monolith. but racism is.
Yeah, but we got to stop trying to claim people that don't claim us.
Okay.
Right? Like, stop. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Like, because it's given desperate. Somebody that's never championed anything black, never talk. Like, why are we trying to hold on? Yeah, he has a black parent. Yeah.
Going back to the symbolism and back to the statue, we need a beacon of hope. I'm with you.
I guess if that's it, I guess.
But at least the Pope had a picture with King Von in him though. So
is that real?
Like, I'm gonna say it is.
I was trying to figure out if that was real or not. It might have been, because you know they got the priest in Chicago that's really tapped in with the streets.
Yep. Father Flager.
Yeah, Father Flager.
Yeah.
So he's super tapped in. So
it's possible. Shout Chicago.
It's possible, but I need some verification. Maybe somebody from Chicago can put that into the chat if that was real or not.
Yeah.
But look, that was just really, that just made me think, damn, A, how far behind we are, right? And B, just that unity to me was just real powerful. Because like I said, I mean, I just looked at that and it's like everybody there, I'm sure they don't agree on a lot of things.
Yep. Personally and business-wise.
Business-wise, I'm sure that they don't agree on a lot of things.
Yep.
But that did not stop them from being in the same room, being cordial, and working out, because everybody got a deal out of that. Nvidia announced their deal with Saudi Arabia. Their stock went up $8. Everybody that was there was not there. They didn't fly 10 hours to the desert for no reason. Yep. They flew to get deals done.
Altman took OpenAI from Elon, and they got along well. And while I was in the same room at the same time. I wish as a community we can put differences aside and get along to get a bigger bag, because it's available, but there's not much unity there, or everyone's worried about who's going to be the head of whatever project. And the money's not being in public facing, it's in having all the royalties and equities on the back end.
Yeah, for sure. And also, somebody said that's not unity, that's a business deal. Well, that's unity.
A lot of time unity, go ahead.
You don't have to like somebody that you do business with.
Yep. If you think the Carnegies and Rockefellers all got along, that's mythical business bullshit. They were at war too. They got along for the era though. And a lot of the unity is going to come through financial means first, because then you have something to lose. If you have two parties that have vested interest in losing something, both parties will act accordingly for the most part. I'm not saying we got to play heal the world and we all be best of friends, but if we're in a financial system and the wealth gap is getting wider day by day, we need to come together, because other entities don't give a fuck if we do well in the next 10 years or not. I'm telling you, whoever created AI now is going to be weaponized to not give us jobs, and is going to escape the legal loophole of discrimination. It's going to be bot versus human, and the bots are going to be deployed against us first to get us out of the job market. That's a financial revolution.
The only option that we have is unity. We don't have the luxury of fighting. You only fight when you have luxury. We don't have the luxury of fighting. So all this shit is like, okay, to me, at this point, it's not important if you think that black people was already in America or black people came from Africa. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it don't matter.
You got to figure out how to do business with Africa, because they have the resources. We have entrepreneurship skills, and we have wherewithal that we figured out in America. But you got to be able to expand cross-continental. You can't get caught in petty differences and things that don't even matter. You're at the lowest level of the totem pole. You don't argue from the bottom. You argue when you're on top.
When you have leverage.
You fighting over shit that don't make no sense.
Yep. But we tried to warn you.
What do I know? Okay. But the Saudi Arabia thing is interesting too because they did announce $800 billion investment to America with the potential to go up to 1.1 trillion. They're buying weapons. They're doing all types of
technology and well, some interest in our corporations allegedly.
Saudi Arabia announces $800 billion investment. He announced he lifts sanctions off of Syria. He accepts a $400 million plane from Qatar.
Is that?
Huh?
Never mind. We live.
Which will be the new Air Force One. They're gonna remix it, pimp my ride, and make it the new Air Force One. He does not consult Israel about the Hamas just released the last American hostage. Doesn't consult Israel. He doesn't visit Israel on this trip. They invited him to come. He
denied it.
He declined the request. That looks like their relationship is a little icy right now.
Doesn't matter if you have the Saudi relationship. That's a king.
One thing about Trump, he's very interesting. You can't really predict what he's going to do.
You don't think so?
Throws a lot of curveballs.
For sure.
Throws a lot of curveballs.
I've been telling everybody, Saudi Aramco is the biggest power player in public and private markets that no one is paying attention to. Quick homework assignment. Everyone go Google what their market cap is. Saudi Aramco. And it's not talked about the way it should be. Like, it's not a top 5 world leading company. So if they invest into the company, they want to return from it. They're going to get some of our best tech. And if they get weapons, so if Palantir is there with NVIDIA and I put the AI together with the weapons, I can probably blow some shit up, right? Allegedly. I know if I got him, I would. So
what do you think about what do you think about this Middle Eastern thing? Everything I just said, from the plane to 800 million to the Syria thing to him kind of excluding Israel from a lot of stuff that he's doing right now. What do you think about his Middle Eastern strategy?
I don't make enough money to talk about the Middle East.
That I don't make enough money play.
I'm not there yet. I'm doing good.
I don't think
it's a few topics I for sure have not gotten to the caliber where I'm good no matter what. No.
Okay. Well, all right. So let's ask a more specific question. How do you feel about the plane? Should the new Air Force One? Do you feel comfortable with that?
I don't. You know what's bad when people on his side are saying publicly, I have concerns about that. So if we're technically at war with BRICS, but my enemy gives me a plane because I may have a capacity to lean morally one way based on inducements, that's kind of scary. Like, if you tell me somebody's an op of yours since 3rd grade and they give me a Maybach, you're going to look at me funny like, bro, wait, you picked me up in a car that the op gave you? Like, wait, you trying to kill me or what? So either they are trying to sway the way that he feels about them, or on the worst case scenario, they may be spying. Either way, I don't see, like, for my Republicans listening, like Reagan, Bush 1, Bush 2 would have never done this. Romney would have never done this. The Tea Party would have never done this.
A lot of Republicans are mad at him. But you know what? I'm not all the way mad at him for doing this, because I look at it like last administration, he gave Boeing the task of making a new Air Force One. Is outdated. It's been around for 40 years. They said it's not going to be ready for another 3 years. He's like, well, in 3 years, I'm not even going to be president.
If I was him, I'm be real, I would not want him to fly on a Boeing anyway.
They come to him with the most luxurious plane in the world, and they're going to give it to him for free.
There's no such thing as a free gift, though.
Oh, of course you're gonna have to, you know that. But
yeah,
I'm taking it.
You taking a plane from the enemy?
Yeah, are they an enemy? Are they an enemy?
Anyone who wants to take your place is enemy. It's one of America's biggest.
Define enemy, because a lot of our friends are enemies, and a lot of our enemies could be friends. Henry Kissinger said America has no permanent friends and no permanent enemies, just a permanent interest. So enemies can become friends very quickly, and friends can become enemies very quickly.
If anyone in BRICS proverbially had the chance to chop our head off, they would. That would be an enemy to me. Now, Saudi may be one of the kinder ones. Like I like soft dictatorship, where it's like I'm not gonna go full throttle, but I'm gonna be very precise, sniper-like when I'm going to take my shot. So they want to pull this off with Romney, Clinton, Obama, Romney, Jeb Bush, because they wouldn't have allowed that kind of interference. Now, for all of my politicians, please let me know. But that was the first time I've seen a lot of people from the right be upset with him doing something like this.
Well, because he's going against the grain.
For sure.
But the thing about Trump is he doesn't care.
To a certain degree. Yeah.
Yeah, he really
I agree. I agree. Now, if Saudi offered me a plane, I would take it too. I ain't gonna lie. But I'm not the leader of the country. But if they throw me a 787, Red Panda plane, bring it on, my boy. Bring it on, Habibi. I'll be right over there.
Habibi.
Be right over there. Thank you.
Okay. Hit the like button and share. Man, Diddy.
You gotta talk about your guy, man.
Our boy Diddy. Day 2 of the Diddy days. Day 3 of the Diddy trial.
Day 3. You going down there?
Oh man, I probably will not be making an appearance.
Gotcha.
It's a lot going on, but where do we even start with this?
I don't know.
Brian Steele's the new Johnny Cochran.
That's a hot take, but
if he pulls this off,
yeah, for sure. Because he was Thug's lawyer, right?
Yep, he was Young Thug's lawyer.
Okay.
So let me preference this by saying that nobody supports domestic violence or acts of cruelty to women. Sexual perversion is a choice on a certain level, but a lot of things were pretty much very unsettling and extremely weird. Having said that, from what I'm hearing, I don't think the government is doing a good job of laying out their case. When you charge somebody with a RICO, that's interesting because he's the only person charged. So a RICO is running an ongoing criminal organization. You have one person. I've never heard of a RICO with one person before. Conspiracy. These are federal charges. Domestic violence is a bad thing, but that's not a federal offense. So the things like even the judge was like, "Yo, we're not talking about baby oil no more. Like enough with the baby oil shit."
Yeah.
I don't think from what I'm hearing, I haven't been there. I don't think the government is laying out a clear case to support federal RICO sex trafficking. Like these are real serious charges.
Yep. I think they brought out Cassie first, because of pregnancy, but to completely destroy character, to set precedents for that these things could happen. And around that 20 to 30 day mark, I think that's when they'll start to bring the people who flipped to put the RICO case together. I haven't heard anything behind the scenes, but because I thought the same thing too. Like, why would you bring her out in the beginning to not lay out an amazing case? But they may be pyramid in the strategy where they start off very light to just defame and demean the character. And then with the next witnesses that they bring to stand, try and put the nail in the coffin. But I don't know if they have the strongest case. Either their lawyers are like the greatest lawyers on earth and they have a strategy that is foolproof, or like you said, Brian is going to be able to get them off for relatively a low amount of time. But that's going to cause a lot of blowback civilly too, because then the lawsuits are going to be endless. So I think it's a lose-lose for him either way. But yeah, the first 3 days, I'm like, I don't see the blockbuster strategy that they said they had from 2 or 3 months ago.
Yeah, and from what I heard the first day, they said Brian Steele was just tearing their witness apart. They said he was tearing them. I don't know if they started cross-examining Cassie yet, but they said like the first guy that came, they tore him apart.
They tore him apart.
He ended up he admitted that he taped the footage and sent it to his wife and broke police protocol and all types of stuff. So
yeah,
they was like that his defense did a really good job, but I don't know. We'll see. But I mean, okay, cross-examination starts tomorrow for Cassie. That's going to be interesting because as a lawyer, right? How hard can you push on a pregnant woman who for 3 days talked about how she was, going through all of this stuff sexually and like that's a difficult situation for a lawyer to be in.
Yeah. I don't think that's the best approach for sure. I'll wait till the other witnesses come forth and then cross-examine the hell out of them. But I will say too, when they want you, because you're from New York, so I can't speak to it because I'm not a native. But there is some in that legal community that wanted him off of that Sean case. A lot of times, like I've had friends go through this that were in the streets. They didn't get you on the first case, but the next case, Justin,
O.J. Simpson,
prime example.
We can't say like beat a murder and go to jail for 20 years for stealing for football jersey.
Insane on a setup, and they knew it was a setup.
Like literally, he beat a murder and then went to jail for 20 years for stealing gloves and a football jersey.
Yep. So if they want you and you're on that hit list or someone wants to make a name, that's hard to beat. So I think just in the end, the lesson for men is just to do the right thing. Whether it's this situation, it's a lot of domestic issues popping up. Tory, we'll talk about that later. Just you have to be very careful for all the traps that get set. And I never knew why my mom and dad would stress so much of like the selection of friends and making sure you do the right thing all the time. But as you ascend, there are traps that are set for you. And he's pissed some people off. Same with Suge. Suge pissed off a lot of people. You can say his ruling was unfair, but you beat a few cases you shouldn't have beat and got away with some stuff, and now it's coming back to bite you.
I really feel like I don't know, man. It's going to be difficult. How long is this trial supposed to be?
I don't know, 2 or 3 months.
Right? Oh, it's going to be that long?
That's what I heard. I may not be 100% accurate, but I heard 2 months, 2 or 3 months, given the amount of witnesses that they have.
Damn, that's a long time.
And I think he's, I don't know, going to trial 8 weeks. Okay,
that's crazy. Man, we're gonna be hearing about this every day for 8 weeks
for sure. I also Diddy a wild boy though.
Get the freaky shit out the way early. So they got this freaky shit. I don't want to hear this freaky shit every day now for 8 weeks.
You're going to hear it's a part of his legacy.
No, but they did how much more can you say? They said a lot. We won't even repeat what has been said, but get the freaky shit out the way.
It's gonna be there forever, bro.
How do you feel about Cassie admitting that she settled a $20 million lawsuit?
I think everyone. Well, was it just? I think everybody knew that.
But she officially. Okay, here's a better question. Do you think that receiving $20 million and then going on stand testifying against somebody?
I think. If I can be very honest, and we've been there in different ways with hubris and arrogance. This is why we have these lessons. Like for those of you who don't know, blackout is a conversation for after you get the bag to not lose it. A lot of y'all be labor like, why do y'all talk about this? A lot of people get the money and lose it over situations like these, right? I think he should have paid her when that lawyer sent that money over when she was about to do the book. But if you've done things before and gotten away with them, you don't think your luck is going to run out. I'm too paranoid. So my thing is like, I know how much I'm willing to risk. And if I know that they know something, but also too, when you have hurt people, they want their revenge back. And if not, and we got to have a conversation about if that product is as pure as they saying, because what he was trying to uncover is what is coming out now about the alcohol. That isn't talked about. When that came out, you put 2 and 2 together, you can see the manipulation in the product and then the value of that company ever since he left, because people started to figure out what he was saying was true.
Well, that goes back to InvestFest.
Absolutely. He told a lot of truth on that stage. But just because you pay somebody off doesn't mean, like, I've been real about this. I've helped people in time of need and given them the most money that they've ever had in one clip, and then 2 months later never talk to them. I'm not surprised that over the 25, I get my revenge back and protection from the lawyer. No, it doesn't entitle you to. No amount of money will guarantee you loyalty. That's why I'd rather just not give now. Nope, I don't got it. I'm sorry. I don't care what you see me with. You can see me with a gold-plated Rolls Royce at InvestFest. I don't have $1 extra for you. I'm sorry. I'm giving it to Xander. Sorry.
No, I mean, it's true. And then it's one of these things where she asked for 30, he gave her 20.
But he should have gave her 30 when she asked for it.
But the lawyer got 30% of that.
Oh, that's the VIG though.
That's the lawyer got 30% of that. Somebody said, did she sign an NDA? This is a teachable moment too. Yes, she did sign an NDA as far as she wasn't allowed to speak about this, you know, as far as her book and stuff like that. But NDAs don't apply to criminal cases. So that's important to know. You can sign an NDA, but if the feds call you, the NDA is not. That's a civil situation.
Mm-hmm.
So her testifying, that NDA means nothing.
And if she got the 20, whatever little punitive fee she had to pay at 1.5 don't mean shit now. Great. And I ran your name through the mud. It's a lot of protection there. You have to, like, so for those of you who be asking about the NDAs because you want to get that off, be careful. Doesn't mean that you can do wrong inside of an NDA. It's not criminal proof.
Somebody said Diddy broke, you can't afford no good lawyers. I don't think so.
That's not true.
I don't think that's true.
That's not true.
I don't think that's true. I'll take a wild guess on that one.
That's not true.
I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, we'll monitor this situation, man.
Yep. Well, it's a lot of coverage and a lot of stuff that's gonna come out, but yeah, just be careful. And everything that is, you know, that's
and know the limits too. Because I think a lot of this comes to because people, you know, a lot of people are saying like, okay, damn, what I learned from like a lot of these situations is that it's not about sex, it's about power.
It's about control.
It's about power and control. And so it's like it's one of these things where when you reach a certain level, sometimes in life you feel like you've done everything. And it's like, what else can I do? Sometimes in life, you just got to say, okay, I'm comfortable here. I don't need to. There's a thing called the other side of the sun. Like when we went to a foreign land one time and they said like, in this land, the only thing, like, just don't ever talk to somebody's wife. And if you talk to somebody's wife, if you mess with somebody's wife, you end up on the other side of the sun. And I asked him, I said, well, what's the other side of the sun? He said, have you ever seen the other side of the sun? I said, no. He said, exactly.
Dark layer.
We don't need to see the other side of the sun.
Right?
We don't need to see the other side of the sun. We don't really need to see the bottom of the ocean.
Nah, for what?
We don't know what's down there.
Which allegedly what got my man in this little kerfuffle in jail too.
Speaking about Tory Lanez, let's talk about him, man. Very unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
First, thoughts and prayers to him and his family.
For sure.
Speedy recovery. Got stabbed 12 times, 14 times in jail, collapsed lung. Seemed like it might have been a mentally disturbed inmate that was already serving life. I'm not sure what it was over, but stabbed him in his head, stabbed him in his chest. Pretty savage attack. Man, that jail's going to be in trouble. He's going to sue the jail, rightfully so. You can't have an inmate like that, general population. Like, that's why they put these inmates in protective custody or special units, because they're celebrities. They're already, you know, a target. And people get stabbed in jail all the time, but it's like they don't have the resources and the notoriety as Tory Lanez does. So as a warden, you don't want a celebrity to die in your jail. And So that's one thing. Another thing is today, allegedly, they're saying, well, can you play this clip, Troy?
Not long ago, Unite the People was approached by a gentleman named Bradley James. Mr. James informed us he was working as the bodyguard and driver for Ms. Kelsey Harris during Mr. Peterson's trial. As such, he was in close proximity and he had privy to conversations she was having with her husband and others. Mr. James informed us he was not under a non-disclosure agreement or a confidentiality agreement and was free to speak with Unite the People, and that he was doing it because his conscience would not let him not speak and leave a man in prison for something he did not do. Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was witness to the conversation Ms. Harris had, where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times, Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody, never even touched that gun, never fired the gun.
Ian, I'll defer to you on this one. So Unite the People is a nonprofit organization advocating for social justice and legal reform. I guess they're kind of like reform, like that.
Yep.
They're a nonprofit.
Similar to.
That's not his defense team. But they've become involved in Tory Lanez's case. You know,
I don't make enough money to talk about this. I'm biased. Shout out to Tory. I talked to Tory 2 weeks ago. Fan of the show. With that, well, I'll say this too about the potential stabbing. From what I'm hearing, I don't know if it's true, so Tory team, don't get mad, but you can't speak down on somebody's wife in jail. You can't say anything about somebody's wife in jail. That's a no-go, especially for those of you who may have been incarcerated or have friends that are in that system. The black and brown divide is real. You got to be real careful when talking to the other side inside those walls. So as far as the Meg thing and Kelsey, maybe one day the real story will come out.
maybe
Prayers to all involved. Prayers to all involved. Prayers to all
involved. I tell you what.
InvestFest coming up. Your mom. Shout out to your mom. Your mom is. I gotta protect you if you're not gonna protect yourself. It's not a hill I'm gonna die on. But I will say, if you're incarcerated, if you're black, you know, especially when it comes to the wife, certain shit you can't say, but especially to somebody Latin, or if you Latin say something to somebody black, you had a whole yard going crazy. That racial divide inside the walls, that shit's real. You got to be careful. All that little hubris you have, you can't.
I think that there's a good chance that he might get out of jail. Let me just say that, based off of his safety, based off of the safety concerns that we just saw, and based off of this. Now we don't know how far this is going to go. If this person actually does come out and actually testify, in my brain, that's grounds for, at the very least, a retrial. If we have a key witness that withheld information that now is coming forward, at the very least, that's grounds for a retrial.
And I pray for her safety, because you may not make it to be able to make a statement.
Yeah,
these are tricky times, yo. You got to move carefully. That little security deal does Zuckerberg be having in New York when he gets to moving around everywhere, snipers everywhere. You gotta be careful, yo. Gotta be careful. So, but nope. Shout out to your mom and dad. I ain't gonna let you die on no hill. No. No.
Put in chat. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Put in chat.
Praise to Megan. H-Town love, all that. But and when you decide to get in war with somebody, you need to see if they have certain protections that you'll never be able to break through. You got to be careful. And some people, if I go to war with them, you got it. If I can't win, if my little defense missiles won't even make it through, it's not worth fighting. And going back to arrogance and hubris, if you just would have been quiet, it would have been good.
If who would have been quiet? Tory?
Whoever should have been quiet.
Whoever should have been quiet. Okay. 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 Okay.
I want y'all to wake it up. No, I got too much to lose. You wake it up in your bum ass life.
Wake it
up.
up.
Wake it up for you. You wake up them kids that you don't take care of.
Yeah.
And go put them 2 juices in the lunchbox. No. Y'all want all these hot takes. Go invest. Go take care of your family. Go get rich. Go help some of these people in real life. Y'all have sympathy for everybody in the world, but don't want to do a hot take to help him or help anybody who's hurt. Nah.
Okay.
I digress.
Okay. Doge, Department of Government Efficiency. Elon Musk was the head of Doge, and he's stepping down. And the new head of Doge is going to be one of the co-authors of Project 2025.
Gotcha. That's interesting. I thought Project 2025 wasn't real, Rashad. The funny thing about, like, if you go on the internet that a lot of y'all are supposed to be using, you can just Google Project 2025 and you can see the contents in it. Like, if you read it, it'll tell you what the plan is. So if Elon steps away after putting all this limelight and shine on it, because his brand value is one of the highest of any titans of industry ever, and you create a system, a program, you leave the program because you're bigger than the program to go back to your home thing you need to work on and install him, the program still runs. And it's going to be more efficient because you're not going to have all this oversight in it because Elon isn't in it. But wasn't this part of the plan in Project 2025? Allegedly.
Allegedly, for sure. Prior to 2025, will this be worse or better than Elon? That's the question.
Will it be better with him not being in there? I think it'll run a lot more efficient.
No, with the guy from prior 2025 coming in and actually running it himself, is that going to be even more dangerous or less dangerous?
Of course. And he looks non-threatening. I'm never worried about the person who looks like the warrior. All the real titans and real people who run the world, they are non-assuming like him. So, but if I had to set up a plan, they ran this flea flicker on Madden 94 perfectly. Great. Perfectly. Get Elon out of the White House so it doesn't cause conflict with him and Trump. Get a non-threatening person who's smart, kind of like a Rowan from Scandal to run Doge. Perfect. But no one wanted to listen. And the greatest thing you can do is misinformation is to tell somebody something that's real does not exist. You guys, you blacks are just overreacting. I'm like, no, I downloaded the shit and read part of it. It wasn't an overreaction.
If you ever watch Usual Suspects, when Kaiser Soze said the greatest trick the devil ever did was convince the world he didn't exist.
Facts. Yep.
They make you seem like a conspiracy theorist. They gaslight you. Gaslighting has been a term that's been overly used, but this is a situation where it's actually appropriate. People will gaslight you, make you feel like you're a conspiracy theorist, make you feel like you're overreacting. They do that shit all the time.
For sure.
They do that shit all the time to minimize anything. Oh no, you're blowing this out of proportion. you're playing a race card. Like, no, it's not as serious. Like, not like
when we've talked to people on both sides. Keep telling y'all that, like, yo, there are people who are in MAGA and in the White House that are concerned now that are white. But you want to tell me as an outsider, yo, you don't know what you're no, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know. It's a lot of unrest right now going on in both camps, in both parties. So, but yeah, if I can discredit and say, hey, you're wrong or you're delusional, okay, great. It's working well. But Project 2025 is real. And it seems to be working better than they even planned.
Facts.
Yep. Democrats, you got to do something. Got to fight back. I'm going to say it again. I like AOC. She's not capable for running for president now. Go get another candidate. If Stephen A is the top draw for the Democratic Party, y'all fuck next year or next 4 years, next 8 after that. Sorry. If you have Stephen A and Max Kellerman, maybe. Where's Max Kellerman at?
And they about to get a new Supreme Court justice. The crazy thing, that the odds in his favor is it's a historic. We was at dinner the other day, and this guy, he does public policy in a very high level institution in Europe, and he was saying that from a political standpoint, the things that Trump has been able to implement in his first 100 days in office
is unprecedented.
If he left today, let's say it stopped today, it would take 40 years to reverse. It would take 40 years to reverse what he did in his first 100 days, and that's just 100 days.
Yep.
They're about to have damn near 80% of the court justices on the Supreme Court is going to be ultra conservative.
Scary times. And I will say this too: if you're not ultra rich, it's going to affect you too. A lot of white Republicans are going to get affected by these decisions as well. You're not safe because you voted for him. He doesn't give a damn about that. So, but what do y'all think? Put in the comments, is Project 2025 real or not? With ChatGPT, it's kind of hard to say something is a lie when you can just like research it quicker than ever.
Yeah. Before we leave, let's talk about this turkey thing, shall we? Can we show this clip from Turkey?
Thing I've ever done for my health and my bank account. Doing this in the US would have cost me thousands and taken months to line up, but in one day, we're doing it all. Scans, tests, meetings with specialists, and the price of everything is jaw-dropping. I'm here at the fanciest hospital I've ever seen with a list of mysterious ailments to get to the bottom of, so let's go. I was met by Sam, my amazing translator/coordinator for the day. First thing you'll do is get your blood drawn so they can start running tests. You'll also do an EKG, they'll take your blood pressure, height, and weight. And now we're off to radiology for a chest x-ray and an abdominal ultrasound. We also did a thyroid ultrasound and some more tests, and then we went over to nuclear medicine and did a bone density scan. How amazing is that? Next, you'll break for lunch, and they've really taken hospital food to a whole other level here. They actually brought in a popular Turkish restaurant to handle all the meals, and patients can literally order it to be delivered to their rooms. It's unreal. I did a lot of research for this trip and ended up choosing a Memorial Group hospital because they're accredited by the Joint Commission International, and I have never seen a hospital with so many amazing reviews. Now it's time to meet with the internal medicine doctor and go over my test results. I was trying to play it cool, but I was nervous. We went over one by one the 30 plus scans, tests, and cancer markers I was tested for in depth, and I got to ask all my pressing questions about my health. Now time to visit the gynecologist and do a pap smear, and I was like, cut the cameras. After that, ophthalmology, the doctor said, okay, this is how you see now, and this is how the world should look.
So, medical tourism is a real thing. People don't.
Yes.
When we think about medical tourism, of course, we're thinking about Colombia, and Dominican Republic, for the BBL situation, and Turkey too, because they're doing some shit in Turkey, outside of this.
Fellas, you can get your BBL and your hairline fixed at the same time.
But there is a thing about medical tourism like this, like legit medical, going. And probably like a couple $1,000. You can get a full CAT scan. You can get your blood. You can get everything. And think about the cost of insurance in America, right? To do what she just did. Let's say you was not insured, right?
Facts.
How much would that cost? Even if you are insured, you can't schedule everything in one day. You got to go to this doctor. You got to go to this doctor. You got to wait 4 weeks, and you got to pay
inefficient,
and you got to wait. And it's nonsense. But imagine if you could just go and just get everything done one day, one stop shop for $2,000, call it a day, and then just go about your life. Man, that really just lets you know how far behind we are in America as far as our medical system is concerned.
And the thing is, like, the health costs are so high, it's ruining our GDP as well. So it's not only a thing that's like a luxury, it would help the country do a lot better as well. I think Terrence put me onto a company named Prenuvo, where they can do these kind of scans, but it's not $2,000. Like, this kind of change is needed, but it goes to the question: does the country want you healthy or not? Like, even when I was talking to somebody, they just came from Greece. He was like, he ate 2,400 calories a day, lost weight. To have the same effect, he needs to eat 1,800 calories a day at 220 pounds to lose weight. It's like we are being poisoned. And then supposedly with the greatest healthcare system in the world, we can't even get these scans done regularly. We got to fly halfway across the world to get an efficient healthcare system going for something that we should get these kind of screenings twice a year.
I mean, you're talking about Cuba. Everybody talks about Cuba. Cuba has one of the best healthcare systems.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So why does the quote unquote repressive regime, communist country, why do they have a great healthcare system? And we the home of democracy, and our healthcare system is in shambles. Yeah. And we're paying a shitload of money. You know, I personally pay almost $3,000 a month for health insurance.
Man, the little bill come through at my face. Dr. Sabi, I need you. Shit, crazy.
What am I paying $2,500 a month for? Me and my son. I don't go to the doctor.
Yep.
$2,500 a month is a lot of money.
And then, if you ever been into a healthcare environment, shout out to all my nurses, my doctors, my anesthesiologists, etc. The environment isn't the most welcoming. You feel like you've been in prison if you are in a bad healthcare system. It's not welcoming like that.
It's terrible. Who wants to go to the health? You got people that's damn near on the verge of dying, fucking random drug addicts. It's not an inviting system. The hospitals are the worst. Hospitals are the worst. You're gonna have somebody just got shot in his foot. You're gonna have the homeless person that's just trying to stay warm. I don't want to go to the hospital. That shit is scary. That shit it's like going to jail.
Yeah, pretty much. So, but I mean, I think this wave of medical tourism is going to increase. I think, especially as we see, I'm noticing a correlation with Black women that are entrepreneurs that travel a lot. They're doing this a lot as well. So America's going to have to find its way, because Saudi isn't going to make hospitals for all the United States, even though they gave Trump a plane. They're going to have to fix this broken medical system if they want the country to do well. If not, you're going to see every country slowly pick away. Because but one of the main things that we do have is our tech. If that tech investment continues to increase, let's say they put a $5 trillion investment into the country, they'll eventually take the #1 market cap spot. Then it's over. Just like Apple keeps going from second to third in market cap. At some point, they're going to go to fifth, and we're going to be at a point of no return. So, but fellas, this summer, go get your waist snatched and your hairline fixed.
Well, I didn't know that because I was telling somebody, and they was telling me, like, they're like, yeah, everybody always talks about. Everybody knows that a lot of women have surgeries. They have breast implants, they have BBLs, they have tummy tucks, mommy makeovers, lip injections. You put collagen in your lip, you can get Botox in your face.
That's a lot of dudes getting.
They was like, yo, you don't. I'm like, well, I don't. They're like, yo, you don't know because the dudes are not telling you. They was like, there's a lot of dudes that's getting their abs done, getting
calves,
their
pecs. I'm dead serious. Last time I went to Mexico, dude had a chest implant, abs done, but he still had love handles, big ass. I'm like, but your calves look like you just competed in the Arnolds.
Big calf.
And then they getting their eyebrows done, Shotty.
The worst is
the pigmentation. Listen,
the worst is the I can't even say that, but the worst is like they're getting injections,
yeah.
enhancements. Who knew this was going on?
It's one in Jersey. A bunch of them be going to. Y'all going to go get the DDL. You go get the injection in the shrimp. It's just a shrimp plus cocktail. There you go. I'm like, what? Like, yo, if you go to what was it, Edgewater or something, I'm like, what? You serious? Yeah, man. Shit, some baddies up there. I'm like, okay. You getting your dick filled with the filler lip? Oh, okay. This shit is crazy. The world we grew up in does not exist.
Yes.
Oh, that's crazy.
Nasty work.
Yo, y'all going to get some designer and then a DDL and still get no women is a fucking trip, yo.
Yo.
Y'all some wild boys, yo.
I'm not paying for abs. I'm just keeping my shirt on. If my abs are not ready for the pool, I will go swimming with a t-shirt.
Yep.
I'll go swimming with a t-shirt.
For real.
I'm not carving up my abs.
Shit crazy, yo. That shit, what's that shit called? The V12. Yo. And then they still be having the love handles in a fat ass back. Shit look crazy, yo. Then y'all, I'm like, y'all didn't turn to the women. That's when women be like, yo, hey man, sassy. I'm like, I'll see it. Y'all getting y'all damn hyperpigmentation shit. I'm like, your eyebrows ain't that dark. Got a perfect arch. The fuck? That shit crazy, yo. But ladies, I don't know how y'all deal with this shit, yo. This shit wild. Whew.
Oh man. Blackout. Never a dull moment.
Never a dull moment, yo.
Never a dull moment.
Let me get 60 cc's for the summer. I'm trying to really kill him this summer. Give me 82 cc's in my dick, yo. Y'all crazy, yo. Y'all some little weirdos, yo. I ain't even gonna lie. I'll see why the ladies be mad and be taxing y'all. I want a Birkin on first date. Oh my God. And still come fast. How you get 80 cc's and then you still done in 2 minutes? Shit crazy, yo. Oh. Okay. What can you do?
What can you do?
What can you do? It was something else we were supposed to go over. No? Pause. DDG, hold your head.
DDG, man. Wow. Says a lot about the times that we're in.
Oh, you know what scared me? I ain't even gonna lie. Michael Jordan going back to work, yo.
Recession indicator.
Michael Jordan broadcasting when he don't even like people.
Recession indicator. Like you said, when you see people that's not supposed to be working back to work.
No. They're saying Tom Brady's supposed to, I don't know if it came up, but he extended his broadcasts and you gotta get better, my boy, for 2 more years. Scared the hell out of me.
Recession indicator. Oh, and I've also heard that they put implants in their biceps also.
That's crazy.
Yeah, just do curl. You can literally
10 sets of 10.
10 sets of 10.
Keep it easy.
Push-ups, dips. You know.
And don't y'all go to Atlanta acting tough with them fake muscles. They're gonna Draco them CCs right at you. You better be careful. Right in the mall. You better chill out. Thinking you tough. All y'all ain't Aaron the plumber. They gonna air something out.
Aaron
they gonna air something out, boy.
Aaron the plumber.
Woo.
That's a
That
fact.
Crazy.
Okay.
And they banned Bill Belichick girl from coming on campus. You know that girl got $8 billion in investment properties?
Is this elderly abuse?
Yeah.
Bill Belichick a G. I don't see him just going for this shit.
Bill Belichick a sucker, yo.
No, Bill Belichick? Bill Belichick? How is he a sucker? He's a G.
Let this girl do this shit, yo.
No, that's what I'm saying. He's not in his right mind. He's like 82 years old. I think this is elderly abuse at this point. If this is actually happening, Bill Belichick is a G. He never smiled for 30 years.
He was a G with the players. She ain't even that tough to be acting like that for. Let's get we go talking like it's me and you. She ain't that. She now at night she probably wilding. Bill ain't never had that. He called him a young Latrine thotty.
When he lifted her up on the feet on the beach, that was ridiculous.
Ridiculous show. Even her speaking for him in an interview. Power dynamics. No, we're not gonna talk about that. But she's PR, you know, social media manager. He trying to give her a job. I know. You gotta give her something to do, but it's crazy. Elderly abuse, yeah.
I hate to see this happen to Bill, man.
And for all of y'all who criticizing Jaden Daniels' mom, this is what happens if you don't have no guidance and leadership in your corner. You got to pick.
Pick one.
You got to pick a.
But Bill Belichick is a legend. We're not going to diminish.
Sure.
We're not going to diminish his life based off of this moment.
If it was me, you'd call me a sucker.
But you're still in your right mind.
That's true.
He's 80. How old is Bill Belichick? He's 82? 79?
Probably, yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. You gotta watch for the young snipers, yo.
He's 73. Bill Belichick is 73 years old. 73. How old is she, Troy?
25, probably.
How old is she?
She a ripe harlot, yo. She gonna walk away with 20 million if she get to 35, though. 2 tech, 2 simps. Ladies, I'm trying to get. Hey, can we get her at InvestFest? How you pull this off? Because she had another little old.
She's 24. A 73-year-old. My dad is 75. A 70-year-old can't handle a 24-year-old.
No.
Then they don't have the
mental
Viagra. Like they don't have the how many Viagra pills do you have to take?
He probably on a 4-pack a night for sure.
Yeah,
with the DDO. Boy, he about to buzz his heart, yo. She gonna put that white girl mouth magic on him. Bill gonna die, yo. Bill. Bill gonna die on campus, yo. Hey,
yo.
Hey, you better be careful. Better be careful. You thought Aaron Hernandez was a killer. No, she's a killer. Oh my God. 24, boy. She put him to bed, boy.
This message was not brought by myself, Troy, or anybody. Man, 24 different, man.
That's crazy, yo.
24 dangerous, man.
And none of the Dykeman snipers got to him. You got a little vanilla sniper from Iowa. Crazy.
No. If he would have got caught with the Dominican, he would have.
Oh, yeah. He would have been kicked out at UNC.
He'd be dead.
Yeah.
He'd be dead.
One night, one fight.
One night, one fight. One night.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Anybody who beat you tough on character traits, too, like that, how he was with the Patriots way, they're usually the opposite in their personal life. The super strict dads and all that shit, they be assholes in real life, be philanderers. You tough on your daughter because you are cheating 3 nights a week. Go sit down, Otis. If Brittany Renner had got a hold of Bill,
Brittany Renner.
I'm doing a lie.
All right, we got to end this before we get demonetized.
I'm sorry.
This is going to the dark side of YouTube
for sure.
We're headed in that direction.
The other side. All right, ladies and
gentlemen,
2 Tech 2 Index, Visa, NVIDIA. Go to InvestFest.
Please get your tickets. Take us out tomorrow, 6 o'clock. We got a dope episode of Earn Your Leisure with Dre and Lex. Black Girls Travel. Okay.
Belichick, I love you.
Entertainment purposes only.
Yes, these are just jokes written by 85 South, Chad, Lex, and Drea. Check out the interview tomorrow. DC Young Fly.
We'll be talking about stocks again on Monday.
Yes. Conservative views and values.
Yes, please.
What's the over under on when he gonna pass?
Oh man, Billy, Billy, you're a legend. You got to get away from the 24-year-old. Please get it. If you want a girlfriend, get a 50-year-old girlfriend.
But if for you young snipers, if you are going
50-year-old, you can get a hot 50-year-old.
You can get some 35.
35 might be too much.
You think so?
40.
There's some killers in that 50 range, but at least she's coming in trying to help pulling off the PR, social media, management angle. That's the way to really get them, because then you get to get in that will.
Yeah, 40, 45. 45 is a good. He could pull a bad 45-year-old. 24 is just too. That's just too dangerous.
Yeah, 24 is crazy. But pray for Bill.
All right, guys. It's been real.
Love y'all. If we get demonetized, take it out my check. I'm sorry. It's a wild episode.
Pretty wild one. Pretty wild one. All right, y'all.
Peace.
Love.